Now, a campaign group that wants the Chancellor to cut VAT on tourism from 20% to 5% says it would create thousands of new jobs and generate £4 billion for the economy.
Well, we do have our fair share of top attractions here in the East Midlands. So what difference would a cut in VAT mean to those working in the tourism industry? Jane Hesketh reports.
From stately homes to space centres, the East Midlands has plenty to offer visitors from home or abroad. But having to charge the top rate of 20% VAT makes attractions less competitive than in other parts of Europe.
Staffing is affected by it. So if the VAT comes down, more staff will be able to be employed, as well as we don't have to increase our prices. We can actually look into make some reductions, whether it's on food or entry.
We want to employ young people in the village, and a lot of, for the hospitality sector, a lot of young people, that's the first place they get work. And it would mean that we'd be able to employ more people, we'd have more cash available to make improvements to services.
The campaign to reduce VAT has plenty of cross-party support. 87 MPs want to cut it to just 5%, putting us on a more level playing field with the rest of Europe. Our most popular continental holiday destinations, Spain, France and Italy, charge 10%. In 2011, Ireland temporarily lowered its rate to 9% and recently decided to keep it there. In the Netherlands, VAT is charged at 6%. And Luxembourg has the lowest rate in Europe at just 3%. Only Slovakia has across-the-board VAT rates equal to ours, while Denmark tops the European table at 25%. A family of four pays nearly £100 more for a break here than in France. Those working in the tourism industry believe a significant cut in VAT would have immediate benefits all round.
Presumably it would reduce the room rates, so that would be good. It would create bigger footfall, there'd be more people equals more jobs and more spend in the economy. So all round it'd be very good and add to the already very successful tourism sector.
One city hoping to cash in on its recently discovered tourist attraction is Leicester. They've announced a tourism action plan to ensure the discovery of Richard III's remains makes them a must-see destination, with or without a cut in VAT. Jane Hesketh, ITV News.
In a statement, the Treasury said, "We have provided over £1 billion in business rate support." The UK also has the highest VAT registration threshold in the EU, and many tourist attractions do not have to charge any VAT to their customers. Although we keep all taxes under review, we do not have any plans to introduce a VAT cut for the tourism sector. Earlier, I spoke to Graham Wason, the chairman of the Cut Tourism VAT campaign, and I began by asking him why we needed this tax cut.
Very simply, the reason is because the VAT is regulated by the European Union, and the EU rules allow member countries to have a reduced rate for tourism. The reason is because tourism is internationally competitive and creates jobs, and because the rules allow that, 25 out of 28 countries in the EU do have reduced rates of VAT. It's only Britain with Denmark and Slovakia are the only exceptions. And it means that if you take a holiday in the United Kingdom, or if you visit Chatsworth or a visitor attraction in this country, you pay 20% VAT. The average in all those other countries in the EU is 10%. Why is it double in the UK?
Many will say, although it is expensive for many parents when they want to take their children out, we've got half-term coming up next week, for instance, although many would like to see a reduction in perhaps entry fees and that sort of thing, can we actually afford it?
We definitely can. Our figures show that Treasury is going to win all the way to the bank with this measure. We've researched this in tremendous detail. We've had unprecedented access to Treasury's own model to run our figures, and their model shows this measure is far more effective for creating jobs and generating fiscal income than any other measure which the government's been proposing. We estimate £4 billion net gain to Treasury over 10 years.
Well, Graham, the government aren't convinced, are they? Because we just heard Mr Osborne say, although we keep all taxes under review, we have no plans to introduce a VAT cut for the tourism sector. I mean, what's your response to that?
Well, unfortunately, successive governments in this country haven't recognised that tourism contributes 9% to the nation's GDP. 10% of our jobs come from tourism, and successive governments have not recognised it and have had a framework that doesn't allow it to grow in the way that it can. It's crazy that we are taxing British families. We're making it cheaper for them to go abroad and spend in other countries than we are for them to spend at home. And that is just nonsense. We think that slowly we're getting through to governments. They are beginning to hear, but we haven't yet persuaded Mr. Osborne.